Hello everyone! As you may know, ants are the most widespread and numerous animal species on the planet. These insects can be found almost anywhere on the planet. They are probably only absent underwater and in space. However, it's possible that a brave ant has made it onto the lunar rover. You don't have to look at the ground to find an ant. In the garden, for example, there are huge numbers of them climbing trees. If I'm not mistaken, these are Lasius niger, also known as black garden ants. That's what we're going to talk about today. We will teach these ants not to climb trees in a humane way without using chemicals. The first method is perhaps the most inhumane. I asked my son to wear the same gaiters for a month. The camera doesn't show it, but it's a scary weapon. We're experiencing technical difficulties. We'll be back in a minute. In the meantime, let's find a branch with a lot of insects. To protect our respiratory organs, we'll use a mask. We'll tie the leggings to the branch. This confuses the ants right away. They bump into the unpleasant-smelling object and don't know what to do next. One brave ant climbed on top but got lost and doesn't know where to go. Do you know why this happened? Ants use pheromone trails for navigation, leaving chemical marks along their path, but the smell of the gaiters is much stronger. The ants approach, lose the trail, and leave. While the other ants are working, a clever one climbs a tree to wash itself. There are always lots of ants in the trees, lots and lots. Sometimes it seems like they live there, rather than just searching for food. Why fight them, you ask? After all, ants play an important role in the tree's ecosystem. Yes, they do. However, their activity can have both positive and negative impacts on the plant. Ants climb trees for honeydew, a sweet substance secreted by the plant, and hunt small insects that can be pests to the tree. On the other hand, aphids can accelerate the process of secreting sweet syrup by colonizing the plant. Our ants have now turned from gatherers into farmers. As the larger, stronger species, they walk around their farm and collect the syrup. Aphids feed on plant sap and secrete excess sap in the form of sugar-rich droplets. In exchange for this necessary carbohydrate, ants protect the aphids from predators and carry them to new plants, ensuring a constant food source for themselves. Ants have gone from being useful and beneficial to becoming pests, not only in gardens, but also for farmers. Consider a sorrel bush swarming with ants, for example. If you turn over a single leaf, you will be amazed. It is literally covered with aphids. On another leaf, you can see dried spots where the aphids have sucked out all the sap and moved on to the stem. This is corn. If we unfold the rolled up leaf, we'll find aphids here too. Of course, there are also ants guarding their herd and milking the sweet juice. Synthepon is another way to stop ants. Many people online praise this method, so it's worth trying. Just tie a piece to a branch. It really works. The ants come up to the fence, bump into it, and leave. Some of them stand there, puzzled. How is this possible? Not long ago, there was a road here. Synthepon has a fuzzy texture that is also very soft and slippery, making it difficult for ants to grip properly. Some brave ones try, of course, but they quickly give up. For the next obstacle, we need a plastic bottle. Secure it to the tree trunk so that there is a passageway at the bottom and a tight connection with the bark at the top. However, the ants found a small hole large enough to pass through. We had to seal this spot with tape. This is our third obstacle for those below and a trap for those above. In a couple of hours, we will find out if the ants can overcome the difficulty. In the meantime, 2 ants are trying to bypass the system, but they are not succeeding. The next obstacle will be on the ground where the path between the anthill and the tree is located. We will need black pepper and small pebbles. Incidentally, there are no ants in the granite screenings. but nothing grows here either. The purpose of the experiment is to scatter the pebbles where the ants smell them. Of course, this won't stop the ants, but it's not that simple. Sprinkle ground black pepper on top of the gravel. According to recommendations on the internet, the ants will smell the pepper, sneeze, and bump their heads on the pebbles. In my opinion, this is an effective way to get rid of ants. Although it sounds crazy, it's definitely worth trying. But I don't hear any sneezing. What's more, the ants are interested in the pepper. Clearly, something has gone wrong with this method. On the same tree, we found a mantis nimbly jumping from leaf to leaf, hunting ants. It had a pretty good lunch until the ants caught it. We'll show you in the next video whether it was able to fight them off. Meanwhile, 2 hours passed and the stinky sock trap stopped working. The ants were able to overcome the sock stench and paved a new path. They also adapted to walking on synthetic fabric. This means that this method doesn't work either. Only a plastic bottle could stop the ants. Now, however, there is a pile of ants on top of the trap that cannot return home. A glamorous pink brush comes to the rescue. Carefully remove the insects from the tree. The haters will say, "Hey, you just hit the ants in the face with your brush." Nevertheless, we got rid of the ants without using chemicals. This means the method works. There are no ants on top or below. Now it's time to play with the weather. This device will help us generate rain. We'll see if the ants milk the aphids during and after the rain, or will they scatter in all directions? Answer: they will scatter. The sweet syrup secreted by the pests was probably washed away by the rain. This means that rain is good for plants, but not for ants. Moreover, the aphids slowly but surely began moving to a dry place, away from the raindrops. Incidentally, aphids often position themselves on the underside of leaves. This way, they are protected from moisture above and the scorching sun. However, we can create the same conditions from below. A kettle will help us do that. Boiling water provides heat and condensation on the leaves. There is even a place where ants have learned to walk upside down. They are willing to fight gravity for the well-being of their colony and to produce sweet syrup. Incidentally, ants have divided their territory into sectors, and each ant collects honeydew in its assigned territory. Now, let's return to the kettle. Our volcano is already spewing hot steam. The ants scattered immediately, abandoning their colony to its fate. Their own comfort is much more important to them. This is despite the fact that the temperature at the level of the leaf is not that high. Walking upside down on a wet surface is probably difficult. So, the ants didn't risk staying above the hot volcano for too long. The same cannot be said for aphids, which cannot run as fast. I hope you've already liked this video and subscribed. If not, now is the time. That's all for now. Bye-bye.